Ready? Ready? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Hialeah Planning and Zoning Board meeting for Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. Everyone, please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity granted us here tonight. We ask that you please watch over us, guide us as we make these decisions tonight. And also like to extend a little prayer for all of our neighbors up north that are going to go through all this bad storm coming up. Hope for the best for them. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated.
Meeting guidelines. The following guidelines apply to today's Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on any item of the agenda, may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cellular phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard. All lobbyists must register with the Planning and Zoning Board prior to the item being heard. A maximum of 4 speakers in favor and 4 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the Planning and Zoning Board on any item. Each speaker comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Item 1, roll call. Mr. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Mason?
Here.
Mr. Iglesias?
Here.
Mr. Jimenez?
Here.
Mr. Ulloa?
Here.
Mr. Santiesteban?
Is
Absent. Ms. Enriquez? Here. We have quorum. Item 2, approval of Planning and Zoning Board summary agenda of September 11th, 2024 as submitted.
Motion to approve?
Second the motion.
Okay, Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
There was a motion to approve. The motion was made by Ms. Enriquez and seconded by Mr. Smiley. The clerk will call the roll.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Here. Yes.
Mr. Jimenez?
Here.
Mr. Santiesteban?
Absent.
Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mr. Enriquez?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Enriquez. And Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Administration of oath to all participants and anyone who will be speaking before the board on any item.
Anyone that's going to speak in front of the board, please stand, raise your hand. Is there anyone in Zoom? Okay, so raise your hand and she'll swear you in.
Outside.
I don't think so. Is there anyone outside, Frank? All right.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth before this board?
Thank you.
¿Usted jura o afirma decir la verdad ante esta junta?
Thank you. Let the record show the answer was in the affirmative.
Okay. A written decision and resolution will be prepared and presented for review to the City Council. The City Council is authorized to affirm with conditions, or override the decisions by resolution. After the resolution is adopted, contact a member of the city clerk's office to obtain a copy of the final decision and resolution. Upon your receipt of the final decision and resolution, contact the building department to obtain your required building permit. Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the city council before its hearing. Now, the Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing request will be heard by the city council as its scheduled meeting of Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. Item 3 has been withdrawn as the applicant's request.
You want to just, for the record, just read the address?
You don't,
You don't have to?
you can read the address.
No, just the address, yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay, the address is 502 East 14th Street, Hialeah, Florida.
And it has been withdrawn by the applicant?
Yes.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Yes,
we're gonna hear items 6 and 9 ahead of the other ones.
okay. 6 and 9. Already?
Okay, the Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing request will be heard by the city council and its scheduled meeting on Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. Item 6, rezoning property from RO Residential Office District to OPS, Offices and Professional Services District. Variance permit to allow 16 parking spaces where 29 parking spaces are required. Allow front setback of 13 feet where 20 feet are required. Allow rear setback of 8.11 feet where 15 feet are required. Allow the existing front and corner side landscape buffer between the off-street parking and right-of-way of 1 foot and 8 inches where 7 feet landscape buffer is required. And allow 10.4% pervious area where 30% is the minimum required. Property is located at 3499 West 4th Avenue, Hialeah, zoned RO Residential Office District. Applicant Cesar Mestre on behalf of Elsa LLC.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Cesar Mestre with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
This property is located at the southeast corner of West 4th Avenue and West 35th Street. The lot is approximately 10,166 square feet of area, and there is an existing two-story building of approximately 5,880 square feet. The property received a land use amendment from low-density residential to residential office and a rezoning from R1 to RO according to ordinance number 8490 approved in August 1984. Therefore, the existing building has operated as a professional office since 1986, when received a certificate of occupancy on September 24, 1986. Additionally, ordinance number 96-108, approved in November 1996, permitted 6 occupational licenses where only 2 are permitted. The property owner also owns the property across the street to the north and applied for a land use amendment and rezoning to develop the north property as a medical center with an OPS land use and zone, which was approved according to ordinance number 2024-002 and number 2024-004 in January 2024. To maintain the property in conformity and consistent with the already approved land use amendment according to ordinance number 2024-033 approved in April 2024, this application is requesting a rezoning from RO to OPS, Office Professional Office, since the property was developed in 1986. Certain development requirements have changed. Therefore, this application includes variances, request for a front setback of 13 feet where 20 feet are required, rear setback of 11 feet where 15 are required, and a reduction of the required front and side landscaping buffer of 1 foot and 8 inches where 7 feet is required. These buffers vary in size, but the minimum being proposed is 1 foot and 8 inches on the corner side of the property. Related to the reduction of the landscaping buffer, the property was developed with 10.4% of pervious areas where 30% is required. Lastly, the property is requesting a parking variance, providing 16 parking spaces where 29 parkings are required. These variances had been present, and the building has been operating accordingly. There are no open code violations in this property. Staff requires that the existing wall sign on the property is modified to remove the word clinic since OPS prohibits medical clinics. Recommendation, staff is recommending approval for the rezoning and for the variances with the condition stipulated above.
Thank you, Claudia. Mr. Messer?
Yes, we have a small presentation.
Are we doing anything to the building other than just variances or?
Where we are going to change the front of the building to match the one that's already been approved across the street.
Okay.
So it'll look like bookends, real futuristic looking,
Yeah.
very pretty. This may look familiar to some of you because the land use on this property was already approved, just like the one across the street. The land use was approved and the rezoning is approved. So this is the last stage in these two properties to get them to be the same. And what is there is not going to change. And I think it's very important to note that, as staff told you, this building has been operating as a medical center since 1986. The only thing is that, as you know, RO is a designation that the city's trying to get away from. So we were going to go to commercial, as some of the other buildings on West 4th Avenue have done. But in light of the Live Local Act and the possibility of this turning into something that is nobody's intention right now, we agreed to bring it down to office and professional services instead of commercial. So this is the lot right here, the corner of West 4 and 3-5. It's this corner building. If you look right on top of it on the picture, you see that there's an empty lot there. That's where the med spa that you already approved is going to go. That's going to look very similar to the new front on this building. The next slide just shows you the land use is RO and the zoning was RO as some of the other properties. The next slide is a picture of what it looks like now. The Sosa building, this has been around for a very long time. It's a weight loss doctor that operates there. We will have landscaping buffers that are going to be smaller than what's required now. And as staff said, what's happened here is that the building was built the way the regulations were way back then. But now they've changed. So we're going to try to accommodate as much as we can. The next picture is what it's going to look like now. This is going to be the new facade for the building. And next picture shows you a different view of the same facade. As you can see, it's going to be some changes. Whenever we come and ask staff for something to rezone, they try to make it updated and make sure that aesthetically it improves for Hialeah. So we do that. And then the last one is just the spa across the street that was already approved. As you can see, they're matching designs so that they're very uniform and they'll have the same zoning, the same land use. So there'll be both the ends of the block right there. So based on that and the recommendation of approval, we'd ask for a recommendation of approval from you, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions? Anyone in the audience?
To the board?
Yes, sir.
To the chair, sorry. What's the difference, Cesar, between residential office and OPS?
The residential office has a lot of requirements, restrictions,
Right.
like 2 licenses,
Got
and
it.
certain things are allowed that are very like an accountant, an attorney. I guess back when it first came out, it was when folks kind of lived in their house and they had their office there. And it was a very small operation, but the staff has said it many times, it's been outdated. It's something that they're trying to get away from.
Okay.
Like most of those houses on 49th Street were RO at some point. Now they're all going to commercial as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience?
Through the chair,
Yes.
Mr. Record, just to clarify, you're agreeing with the condition?
Yes, we're okay with the
Okay,
condition.
Thank you.
The word
Okay.
clinic will go.
All right. That being said, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
Second that motion? With conditions.
With the conditions?
With the condition.
Okay, Mr. Mason,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Enriquez and a second by Mr. Iglesias.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The clerk will call the roll. I'll do that, you mind.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Enriquez? Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. Santisteban? No está. Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Perez?
Yes.
The motion passes. The item is approved.
Number 9, right?
So
Okay.
we're gonna go to number 9.
Number 9. Okay, item number 9 is a conditional use permit to allow a kindergarten class with a maximum capacity of 22 students in conjunction with an 81 children daycare. Property is located at 5378 West 16th Avenue, Unit 5356, Hialeah, zoned C2 Liberal Retail Commercial District. Applicant Cesar Mestre on behalf of Genie's Learning Center.
Cesar Mestre with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
This application's property is within the shopping center located at 5378 West 16th Avenue, Nima Plaza LLC. The application includes 3 bay units identified as 5634, 5636, and 5358 West 16th Avenue. And the main entrance to the business is through 5636 West 16th Avenue. The total square footage of the shopping center is 105,807 square feet within a 9.92 acre lot, and base, including the playground area, is approximately 9,548 square feet. So we are talking about the shopping center, and these 3 units are only 9,548. The base under these applications do not have any outstanding violations, and the business has been operating as a daycare since 1996, according to city records. The existing land use is commercial, and the zoning is C2, liberal retail commercial. Therefore, an education business is a permitted use when receiving a conditional use permit approval. This application is to maintain the operations of the daycare with no more than 81 children, and the approval for a CUP for the expansion of kindergarten with no more than 22 students. The required parking spaces for the daycare and the school are 13 parking spaces. According to the plan submitted by the applicant, the daycare and the school have sufficient parking spaces, and there is a designated area for drop-off and pick-up for the children and students. The plans submitted are prepared by MEC Design, signed and sealed by Jose Martinez, dated July 17, 2024. The playground area is fenced and with bollards. However, some banners need to be removed, and the shopping center shall obtain a dumpster enclosure. The following conditions shall apply. Submit building permits for a change of use according to plan submitted and no later than 3 months from approval. And restrict the maximum capacity of 81 daycare children and 22 school children in kindergarten, and enter into a declaration of restrictions prior second reading of the ordinance. Recommendation: staff recommends approval for the CUP with conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Mystery?
Yes, the next slide, we have a small presentation. This is actually the shopping center where La Carreta is. So the circle is where it's located. It's on the southwest corner of the property. Next slide is just showing you what staff told you, that the land use and the zoning are commercial in C2, liberal retail. Next slide is the site plan, the way that the classrooms are divided. Next slide is the parking, showing you how the cars will drop off and pick up the children. And the next 2 slides are pictures of the front of the school and the area. See, it's clearly marked daycare drop off and pickup only, so that nobody else uses that area. We are okay with removing the banners, whatever ones that need to be removed. And we will notify the owner of the shopping center regarding the dumpster enclosure. And we will definitely enter into the declaration of restrictions before second reading, setting forth that the daycare will be limited to 81 students, 81 children, and the kindergarten class will be limited to 22 students only. I ask you to keep in mind that this business has been in operation since 1996. This is the same case as many of the other schools that have come before you, where they started off as a daycare. They added kindergarten, unknowing that they had to come to the city to get permission. That's why they're here now, trying to legalize it. So based on that and staff's recommendation, we would respectfully ask for a vote of approval tonight. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions?
To the chair. The declaration of restrictions, is that for the capacity of the children or?
The declaration will set forth whatever conditions we put, and one of the conditions that we will put is the limit on the children, yes.
Okay.
And it says that if we violate that, you guys can take away the conditional use permit.
Okay.
So if you take it, or if you violate, you're fired.
You're out.
Yeah. All right. Any more comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve. Second that motion.
You have a motion to approve by Mr. Iglesias and a second by Mr. Ulloa. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Santisteban is absent, Mr. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
And Mr. Jimenez.
Yes.
Motion has been approved
With conditions.
with conditions.
Thanks, Caesar.
Okay, so item 4 is gonna be heard now. This item was tabled from the September 11th, 2024 meeting. So we need a motion to remove it from table.
Is the applicant here?
Yes, please.
Motion to remove from table?
Second that motion.
Motion to remove from table by Mrs. Enriquez and a second by Mr. Ulloa. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Perez.
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez.
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
And Mr. Santisteban is absent.
Motion passes. The item has been removed from table.
All righty.
Okay. So item 4, rezoning property R1, one family district to R35, multiple family district. Variance permit to allow front setback of 10 feet, where 25 feet is the minimum required. Allow interior east and west side setbacks of 5 feet, where 10 feet is the minimum required. Allow rear setback of 5 feet, where 20 feet is the minimum required, and allow 27% pervious area, where 30% is the minimum required. The property is located at 533 East 22nd Street, Hialeah, zoned R1, one family district. Applicant 533 East 22nd Street, LLC.
Thank you. Name and address, please. Thank you.
Alex Farniela, 533 East 22nd Street, Hialeah.
Thank you, sir.
This property is located between East 5 and 6th Avenue and faces East 22nd Street. The lot also faces the FEC rail tracks, and to the rear faces the elevated tracks of the Metro rail lines. The lot is currently vacant with an R1 zoning classification. The lot is approximately 6,750 square feet of area and has a 50 feet frontage. The configuration of the lot is the original platted record. And the surrounding lots are the same dimensions, and the properties to the east and west are developed with multifamily one-story structures built in the late 1950s. This board approved the land use amendment during the last meeting. The property owner is currently amending the land use, but it got approved by this board already. To be aligned with the requested zoning of this application. As mentioned above, the property is currently zone R1, and the applicant is requesting to rezone it to R35 multifamily district. The submitted proposal is to develop the lot as a 2-story structure with 4 residential units, a fourplex. Since the property is located within a flood zone, AH, requesting a minimum of 9 feet of elevation. The proposal includes all parking spaces at the ground level with 2 staircases connecting to the second floor leading to the 4 residential units. Since the lot is elongated north to south, the units will be mainly facing east and west. Balconies are incorporated into all units, and the corner units have wrapping balconies having views to the streets or to the open space to the north. All units are 2 bedroom, 2 bathrooms with 2 parking spaces each, satisfying the parking requirements of the code. As mentioned above, the lot is 50 feet wide and 135 feet long. Therefore, the proposal is requesting setback variances to accommodate the design within the elongated shape of the lot. The requested variances are to allow 10 feet front setback and 5 feet east and west setback. Even though it is a diminishing setback, the property to the front does not have any other properties since it's facing the FEC tracks, and to the sides, the proposal is incorporating a rich foliage to the west to ameliorate the setback reduction. To the east, the proposal incorporates a walkway to gain access to the staircases. This access point connects to the public sidewalk and is protected from vehicular areas. Even though the walkway reduces the pervious area of the lot, it also provides for a safer pedestrian connection. The proposal is also requesting a reduction of the pervious areas to 27% where 30% is required. The request to rezone the property is compatible to the surrounding multifamily structures and the variants are minimal. Staff recommends approval to the rezoning and to the variances. Recommendation approval.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
Just, we trying to, the application space was fourplex before, burn, and we do the same thing nicely.
So you're going to take that building down and build a new one, or?
That is done already.
All right. Comments or questions from the board?
How are you designing the parking?
Is under the building.
Oh, so.
Everything is gonna be under, nothing in the front, no parking in the street, under the building, and the building's in top.
Oh, so that's why it's 2-story parking on,
Exactly,
So-
parking and
has shaded parking, so even better.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is
Good.
it assigned parking? Just to avoid guests going in? It looks like a tight parking space.
is the only way in that type of land. But then the lot is not too big, so
But I mean, it's gonna be assigned parking like for each apartment.
yeah, each
Yeah.
apartment gonna have 2 parkings.
Okay.
And a trash room and an electrical room in the first floor.
Okay. Any more comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jimenez, second by Ms. Enriquez. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Mr. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Ms. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
and Mr. Santisteban is absent. Motion has been approved.
Motion passes. The item is approved.
Thank you.
The next item was also tabled from the September 11th meeting. The address is 911 East 17th Street, but I don't see the applicant here.
Okay, so the pleasure of the board, you want to just let it sit on table for one more meeting, or do we, remember, we can't let it linger forever.
Well, you can continue to table. You can indefinitely, not indefinitely, but till the next meeting.
Till the next, that's what I'm saying, till
Yeah.
the next meeting,
You
but
can
not
con-
for on and on and
You can
on.
continue the table until the next
To the
meeting.
chair,
Yes, sir.
is there a reason why they're not here? Is it, do we know?
No, I gave them a call. I always give them a call, the day of the meeting or the day before, to
Did they
remind
answer?
them. They never answered. I left them a message. The same thing happened with the September 11th meeting.
But it's just. Maybe they just don't care.
It's up to the board.
Well, it says approve. Only rezoning R2 for. I think we should move it forward if it's already approved by the city planner. They're gonna be here.
This is an application that we have been working actually for quite some time, and they have somebody representing them because they were running building permits. It is up to the board if they want to hear it, but I would rather have the applicant present because they might have information that I am not
Right.
privy to.
Okay.
So I would rather have it tabled.
Are we,
Motion to table it.
we'll
You
just know-
you can just continue the table. So you can announce the table. The table will continue until
The next. meeting.
October 9th
next meeting, yeah.
at
Yeah, especially since the recommendation. is
6
approval-
PM.
Approval with conditions, so we want to make sure that they're, okay, so that goes to you. I'll pass the, item. So no action on that. Seven.
Yeah.
Number seven, item number seven is being withdrawn
Oh.
to be re-advertised.
Already, good. Yes,
The address is 1286 West 38th Place, Unit 1, Hialeah, Florida.
and it's withdrawn as per applicant's request or as per staff's request?
Staff's request, it needs to be re-advertised.
Okay. All right. Do we have that? We don't have that in here. No.
No, you don't have. The next item, number eight, variance permit to replat the property into two substandard lots and allow the construction of a duplex of each substandard lot having a frontage of approximately 65 feet and 50.5 feet and a total lot area of approximately 5,200 square feet and 4,040 square feet, where frontage of 75 feet and total lot area of 7,500 square feet are required. Rezoning property from R1, one family district to R2, 1 and 2 family residential district. Variance permit to allow the following setback adjustments for the northern lot. Allow front setback of 10 feet where 25 feet are required. Allow interior south side setback of 5 feet where 7.5 feet are required. Allow rear setback of 5 feet where 25 feet are required. Allow 46% lot coverage where 30% is the maximum allowed, and allow 20% pervious area where 30% is the minimum required. Variance permit to allow the following setback adjustments for the southern lot. Allow front setback of 10 feet where 15 feet are required. Allowed street side setback of 10 feet where 15 feet are required. Allow rear setback of 5 feet and 1 inch where 25 feet are required. Allow interior north side setback of 5 feet where 7.5 feet are required. Allowed 59% lot coverage where 30% is the maximum allowed, and allow 22 pervious area where 30% is the minimum required. Property is located at 501 East 8th Street, Hialeah, zoned R1, one family district. The applicant is Frank De La Paz on behalf of Gino Dominico.
1 second, just to be clear, the southern lot, the first variance was to allow a front setback of 10 feet where 25 feet are required.
Okay. Frank?
Good evening. My name is Frank De La Paz. 11000 Southwest 104th Street, Miami, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
This application is
This property is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of East Fifth Avenue and East 8th Street and is approximately 9,200 square feet in area. The lot is approximately 80 feet wide by approximately 115 feet deep. The property has been developed as a one single-family residential structure of approximately 2,400 square feet. This property is not homesteaded. There is a code violation, and the property seems to have improvements constructed without the benefit of a building permit. The property is located behind one of the corridors selected as NBD, Neighborhood Business District, Area 5, and there is a 12-foot alley to the north of the property. This application proposes to demolish the existing structure, single-family home, and subdivide the lot into two substandard lots to develop an attached duplex on each proposed lot. The subdivision requires a replat of the property, which shall be completed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. The subdivision will permit the development of a north and of a south substandard lot, each with an attached duplex on it. The north duplex is proposed to be accessed and faced East Fifth Avenue. Each unit of the duplex is proposed to be a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom unit of approximately 1,815 square feet of area. The south duplex is proposed to be accessed and face East 8th Street. Also, each unit of the duplex is proposed to be a two-story, 3-bed, 2.5 bathroom unit of approximately 1,815 square feet of area. To accomplish such proposal, the applicant is requesting to rezone the property from R1, one family district, to R2, 1 and 2 family residential districts. This rezoning will apply to both subdivided lots. Variances are being requested for both of the proposed substandard lots. The northern lot is requesting front, south interior, and rear setback variances as described above. In addition, there is a lot coverage and pervious area variance request. These variances are the product of the creation of the substandard lots. However, the product being proposed accommodates the parking requirements, which is the variance that it could affect adjacent properties. The southern lot is requesting front, north, interior, corner, south, and rear setback variances, and also lot coverage and pervious area variances requests are part of the southern lot. This lot also provides the required parking count for each duplex. The creation of 4 residential units is beneficial and is proposed at an appropriate and a compatible location. The project is also improved by a gate at each vehicular access and proposes a solid wall at the western and northern property lines. In addition, the project is to submit a landscaping plan and a tree removal permit if trees are being removed. The project shall be developed according to the conceptual plans developed by Architecture Associates, Inc., signed and sealed by Ruben Travieso, dated August 23, 2024. Final reply shall be completed prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. Recommendation, staff recommends approval for the rezoning and variances with conditions.
Thank you. Frank?
Good evening. This parcel was here a few months back with the traditional redevelopment that has occurred with 2 duplexes with a adjoining wall, like the ones that have been done in Lejeune. The department was not receptive, and rightfully so, because we had not realized that the school across the street was going to be impacted in such a way. So we went back, and instead of having both units facing 8th Street, we decided, since it was a corner unit, to do it differently, and that's why it looks like so many variances, but in fact, the product is much better. On the same block, if you travel east, you're going to see a lot of traditional duplexes on the back with all the ugly parking in the front. That was what the department did not want it. So we did change it. And I think it will be a great improvement to the neighborhood. We're proposing it like 2 townhouse style unit facing one way, 2 townhouse style unit the other. And instead of having both buildings together with 0 setback in one side, we're going to have an interior separation. And I look forward the approval from this board.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions?
Through the chair.
None? Yes, sir.
Why do you need to divide it like to 2 substandard
Because of the
lots?
zoning. If we were to go like the prior applicant, that's the only way to be able to get 4 units, is either divided it into 2 to have 1 unit on each one, or go to R3, which it will be more detrimental, because you saw what the gentleman was here on 22nd Street, has to put all the parking underneath, and it would not be compatible with what is there.
Okay.
So I believe this is much better.
And your variances is because of the
The way
distance.
that we're putting the building inside of each lot, traditionally, we have divided the lots in 2. And then we have built the duplexes with 0 lot line in the middle, like the one similar that you got approved in Lejeune and 20-some and 32nd, that you can see it, the one that you recently approved in Seminola. But that was not conducive on this neighborhood because of the school across the street. So this is a different animal, which I believe is much better than what have been happening before.
So the variances are for the setbacks.
For the setbacks,
Okay.
among other things.
So this lot is basically one lot. It's not two separate parcels.
Originally,
Or it was two separate parcels at one time.
before the Big Depression, it was two lots and then it became one. So now we have to replat,
Okay,
among other things. We try to accommodate the prior project, moving the building forward and utilizing the 12-foot alley in the back. But the property to the north, if any of you go by there, they feel that they own the alley, and the way the power poles and everything is in there, we have really no access to the alley. So we could not come out with anything much different.
all right.
What's the square footage?
It's gonna be
Oh, 9,200, yeah.
Yes,
Got it.
because the bottom is smaller than the top, because we're putting the parking, part of the parking is underneath the building.
Is it like a garage? Is it covered or?
We're not putting a garage door.
Okay.
We feel that if we put a garage door, it will become livable area illegally. That's
Ah,
why we followed the suggestion of the department to put nice gates on the entrances so people will not stack parking behind and block the sidewalks. This property, the way we want to develop it, is going to be a showroom for future ideas that we have. The windows are much larger because the principle behind this is a window manufacturer out of Europe, and he wants to have a different look. So when people ask him, well, where have you installed your windows? We can refer to this, and it's a nice place with nice big size windows as a selling point.
I think it's a brilliant project because 1,800 square foot, that's big.
Yeah,
And
but
you
it's
get
on
four
two
of them.
floors.
Four.
But it's in 2 floors.
So that's
That's why we can reach that number.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, there's no one in the audience, so what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jimenez, second by Ms. Enriquez. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Ms. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Mason, Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
The motion passes. The item is approved.
If I may take a little privilege today, I felt young again this evening when I saw Cesar Mestre come for the rezoning on West Fourth Avenue. I don't know if you noticed that he said that the unit had it was a residential where 2 licenses are permitted, and they had 6. Well, that was me back in 86, and that was the genesis, because I had that building done with 6 licenses. That was a big fight, and that was instigated the limits on residential office from there on. It was not my intention, but that's what happened
See,
back in 86.
I always knew you were an instigator.
And that triggered it, the limitation, which is now what is now. The limitation for those licenses was that no 2 businesses could be in RO, not 2 licenses. And that was one of the biggest argument that we had back then, because if you were a realtor and you could have a real estate and you could have a mortgage license, that you had several licenses, so it was limited to 2 businesses per residential office, and then further down, it got somehow changed to 2 licenses. And I believe the city might be right that most of them should be changing to OPS and redevelop.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good historical moment.
Okay, so we have item 10.
Item 10, resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Hialeah, Florida, expressing its intent to approve and adopt text amendments to the future land use element of the city of Hialeah, Florida, comprehensive plan, and providing for an effective date.
This resolution is to start the process modifying the future land use text for several land use designations with the intent of increasing the density to accommodate basically affordable housing. That is the basic intent of it. As you recall, last meeting, you approved the neighborhood business districts. And we removed the incentives relating to affordable housing. Because the idea is actually to create an independent code section that relates to affordable housing. And this is the text amendment that is going to start that process. So we remove it from one place. We are incorporated in a new proposed that is going to come in front of you later on. But this is the first step for such a code amendment.
If you say so. All right. Any comments or questions? You feel the same way, right?
I
Have you
understood
covered-
everything.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Motion to approve by Ms. Enriquez, second by Mr. Iglesias. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Paris,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Ms. Enriquez.
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez.
He's away.
Okay. We'll get his vote when he
Mm.
comes back.
Well, the motion passes, the item, the resolution is approved.
Just for the record, we'll,
Miscellaneous items not requiring advertising. Number 11, final plat of Flightway North.
This application has no objections. It's for the final plat of this property, located between 107th Avenue and 138th Street.
okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Enriquez and a second by
Mr.
Mr. Mason. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Paris,
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Ms. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez is away. Mr. Ulloa
Yes.
and Mr. Santisteban is absent.
The motion passes, the item is approved. Mr. Jimenez, can we get your vote for numbers 10 and 11, please? Old business? No old business, new business? No new business.
New business, I would like to extend, my hopefuls and best wishes to everyone and their family. We're not gonna be hit by the hurricane here, thank God, but, just be careful. Use your head. Don't use your head to wear a hat. Just use your head to think. All right, so just all be careful. That being said, anything else? Meeting's adjourned.